what I really wanted to show you was what I'm going to call the new temple. It is not columns. Those are not columns. If you look at those up close, you can see those are stones laid out. This is the exciting news, because when people ask, are there megalithic structures in the Richat? I can say yes, there is one over here in this corner and one over there. Hello everybody, this is a quick presentation to update you on some of the new findings I've found in Mauritania. Here's a map of Mauritania. Oops, what's that? That's Morocco. Why are they calling Morocco Mauritania? No, I'm talking about the Mauritania that's over here, and the eye of the Sahara, which looks like this from these photos. Now, if you want to know what cities are near there, Ouaddain and Chinguetti are two prominent cities near the Richat structure. It's easy to find on the map. Some people think, and I'm one of them, that this was possibly the capital of Atlantis 13,000 years ago. So let's take a look at the current structure and see if we can find any megalithic items. We do have a ring around the earth of megalithic structures, and this ring, if shifted over, would have been a previous equator. But what I really want to talk about is that this line does go through our Richat structure, and I think that's quite incredible, because it could be that there's some energy, but the question is there any megalithic structure found on the Richat structure? I'd like to find a pyramid. We found this. Is that megalithic? Is that 13,000 years old? Not sure. There's a lot of things to wonder about this. The castle, as Bright Insight called it. These little circles in the corners. There's the location. What are they used for? Well, Sam Wood Guitar commented on one of my other videos, and he showed us this other structure that's actually 10 kilometers to the decimal away from the first one. I thought that was interesting, but it doesn't seem to have any effect. But CM Wood actually has a whole bunch more, so I had to go visit them all. This is my map of all the ones I visited, and the first one, there was another castle type structure with these weird knob circle endings on two corners. You've got a no circle on one corner, and then you've got these weird structures along the edge. Very interesting. This is actually on the other side of the structure there, so when you go to that, you can find it and you can measure it yourself. Compared to this one, the one thing I do want to compare to those is these circles. Now, this is the comparison of the Bright Insight castle compared to the CM Wood. Very, very light in the sand. There's one big difference. All these are similarities. These arrows are pointing to different circles, but one of the big differences is this is connected, but the one that was found here, these circles don't seem to be connected at all. And there's one more thing. If you look at this corner, it's nice and clean, and if you look at the opposite corner, you've got a connected circle like it's part of the structure. It's not drawn out at all. Very confusing to me. So the question is if this structure doesn't have the little button one, this has 1, 2, 3 circles, but you know, if you look at the original castle, it looks like it's like a yard or something, and there's a lot of questions about this. But these, they don't seem to be connected, and that looks like it's going up a hill. So where's the one that's a button circle? Right up there. This is the empty one. Okay, so over here, why isn't that here? It just doesn't match the others. Is this much older? This foundation, could it actually be 13,000 years old? And even if it's modern day, I mean, modern day structures in Mauritania look like this. You've got these palm frond fences, circles that don't really have any real symmetry at all. That's the modern day structures you find compared to these types of walls. And look how wide those are. You know, I measured it with the gauge that comes up on the map. I just clipped it out and I put it all over. And I looked at this wall, and it's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 4 meters wide. What is going on? They look like teeth. Are those rocks? I don't think so. They look like some type of a house or building that's built up against the wall. Diagonally, they're about 4 meters wide. And I think you should check them all out yourself. Now, this structure was on the side of the mountain with a similar structure opposite to the other side of the passageway. This is on a hill, obviously. I don't know how flat this is. I think it looks like it's on the side of a hill. But what I really wonder about are these circles. If you look, I turned it there so you can see they match, and the circles are on two corners, but one of them's kind of offset. They're very different. That one has a couple in the middle. But take a look at these circles. What were they? Look at this building that was found in Libya. Well, it's not a building anymore, but it's the obvious pattern of where it existed and how it existed. And you can see in the corner what I believe would have been a column leaves this circular, looks like a stone, but I don't think it is a stone. I think it's a footprint of a circular column. And you can see similar pictures here. This is on the Richat structure of these same footprints. So I'm going to kind of call it a column footprint. Now this right here, it doesn't have any of those. It's in the wrong. It's very close to that other structure, so I did want to show it to you. These are from Saudi Arabia's Hell's Gate. You see these figures, but what I really wanted to show you was what I'm going to call the new temple. It is not columns. Those are not columns. If you look at those up close, you can see those are stones laid out. This is the exciting news, because when people ask, are there megalithic structures in the Richat? I can say yes, there is. One over here in this corner and one over there. That I call the new temple because it's a little bit nicer than this, which is a little bit more spread out and uneven, maybe older. I call that the old temple for reference. The old temple has a really large, it looks like some type of a sphere or a spheral, and it looks like the corners are made of big huge stones. Look at these pictures. If those aren't stones, what are they? And when I say stones, I should say big huge boulders, because the large ones in this picture measure out to be about 3 meters wide. Now if that's not impressive, go over to the other structure and see this boulder, which, you know, the measurement on this is here, the square footage. That boulder is about 6 meters wide, 5 to 6 meters wide. You can see how I compared it to the graph, about 6 meters wide. What is going on here? Now, this is my finding, and that's why I wanted to get this video out. I don't know if anybody else has seen this before, but next to the new temple, we have this other plateau, and look at that. There's a bunch of large, huge boulders, and not just big ones, but a bunch of small ones. And if you can see, it's kind of laid out in what I call a crescent shape. Now, this crescent shape, there's a lot of small ones in there, but they've got big ones going around that way. What was that? Those are actually really large stones, and I don't know the perfect measurement because the angles of Google Maps can offset the perspective of these stones. So I feel like we need to get down there. And by the way, nearby was another one and another one. These crescents are very similarly close to the first new temple. What were they? What are they? Who put them there? Were they put there before, or were they put there after? Look at Stonehenge. Total distance, it's 35 meters. But when you get to this ancient structure in the middle of the Richat, you find that it's a little bit bigger. I want to get this video out as soon as possible, so I'm going to take a couple more things and then I'm going to finish it up. You've got a 13-kilometer distance between those new temple, old temples, and the center. And if you say, okay, well, that's the ring. By the way, how many rings out? This is the castle. So there's the first ring, the second ring is here, and this is actually the third ring, 13 kilometers away from the center. I thought, okay, let's take a look at the other side. What's at the other side? Because this is due east, almost exactly due east of the center. So let's go due west. Well, I didn't find much at 13 kilometers. But I did notice this thing over here, and it said, wow, is that natural, or is that part of the ancient structures? And what do I find inside? A bunch of dots. These dots are predominantly spread out throughout everywhere. Look at these dots. These dots, I'm going to get this video out now, so I'm not going to mess around doing any more detailed edits. These dots, if you look, are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's maybe one there, 8, 9, 10. Look from top to bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I see one there. I think I see one there. Were those put there by the government? Are those ancient? Were those recent? It's time to get in there and take a look at this structure a little closer. So I looked at some of the other structures that the videos presented, not just the one from CM Wood, but also from a couple of other searchers, Google Maps searchers like myself. This structure, that's not there, but what we see is way up in the corner of the Richat structure, actually far away, where it's meeting the desert floor. Next to it, you find something like this, and It's just a little bit. Take a look at the video, the way he put these lines in there and made it look like a real structure. Very mysterious. I'm also worried about these little dots. This looks a little too natural for me to really think that it has anything to do. But I started checking out lots of dots. I see dots that are symmetrical, and I kind of want to know more about them. And then this structure over here, which I'll look at a little later, seems like it might even have one of those hooks or handles that the structure Bright Insight showed us has. Yes, I'm stretching it a lot, but I did try to pull it out into, I mean, it's underneath sand. I tried to pull it out into the same size and angles and compared it to the other ones, and it just seems like it's very random and not really adding up. However, I did want to look near the center of the Richat structure for more possible things. The one video I found his structure said there's some right angles here. I think that's true. They caught my eye. Dots that are spaced equally like Orion's belt. These dots, what are they? Are they previous columns? This piece of structure here, it seems like it could have been, that's really close to the center. That's about 1 kilometer away from the center. There are more. Well, most of these stones that are in the Richat structure are even more than that. Here's some other items that were discovered. I found that was interesting. Maybe that's a monkey. Little dots in the middle of nowhere. It looks like rectangles with dots in them. These are of no real significance, and some of them I think are quite natural. What's that circle over here? Somebody doing a perfect donut? I've done donuts before. They don't come out that nicely. And when I say a donut, that means when you take your car and you spin it around into a circle. That's just a snake-shaped item I found in the middle of the desert. Close by, it's not actually near the Richat structure, but it's in Mauritania. Here's another thing with dots. What is that? Is that mining? What's that thing up top? That's up in the near the train. Just some random shapes, but 13,000 miles away, we might have what looks like a snake head here. I think it's more interesting, that other thing that I found. Lots to look at. Is that an arrow? Ellipses. Lots and lots and lots of dots. This is the center. You can see vectors and the magic number of 5 going to work here to take advantage of these shapes. But then you've got this old skeletal bedrock sticking through. So you've got such a combination of stuff here. You could spend months and months studying this.